Welcome, listeners. I'm super excited to have you here today. I'm wearing my whimsy sweatshirt because I am like off the high of spending 3 days with Bob Goff. And if you don't know who he is, look him up because he's amazing and he's inspiring and he makes you feel loved and it's super fun. And then I flew in last night from San Diego and here I am sitting across my screen from me is my dear friend, my coach, Tracy Pleshcourt. Tracy, you were here you've been here through it all, right? Like
Yeah,
you've been through me going through a really hard thing. You've been here through fun things and
yeah,
you were here for the beginning. You were the one I threw on this podcast when I was kind of going through hard things. And we talked a lot in those episodes, which I just want to touch on this, Tracy. So just listeners, welcome. Here's Tracy. If you need coaching, go to Self Made You. We'll have her info in the show notes. She also has this amazing calendar. And if you go back to the beginning of Saddle Up Live, we talk about schedules and how they're so important. And they still are so important to me. And we may talk about that a little bit later, but just throw in a little information about that calendar book that you've got out.
yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It's so good
Yes.
to be back. Since we last met, we launched a goal planner that really holds your hand through the day in and day out progress towards the goals that are most important to you. So, the book is just a very organized way of number one, deciding what it is that you want from your life. So we kind of reverse architect it and we look at what area of your life are you least satisfied with and why. And then that really launches us into setting some goals. And then we take those goals and we dissect what we would have to do from an action standpoint to make progress towards those goals over the course of 3 months.
Yep.
So the book itself holds, um, what would that be, 90 days of planning towards your goal. And I have a method to kind of the madness. It's not all about actions. Most people will think about a goal planner or a day planner as like time management or project management. And I look at this planner as not only time management, but mental management, like
Mhm.
mental and emotional management. Because if you don't have that component locked in, nothing that you do is going to be sustainable. And it's surely not going to be something that feels good while you're doing it. And that's the goal of life is just
Mhm.
be present enough to say, do I actually enjoy what it is that I'm doing, including making progress towards my goals? So this has just become, the book itself is just a labor of love that has finally come to market that holds people's hand through the day in and day out process of achieving your goals. I
Yep.
have heard hundreds, if not thousands, of people say, I always set them. I'm really good at setting them.
Mhm.
I never achieve them.
Yep.
And this puts a stop to that.
And, listeners, we all have dreams. We all have goals. I mean, I don't care if it's something that you think is silly and small. Don't go by what this world says. Just, pick what is it? You want more time with your grandkids? This will help you figure it out. And what I meant to say in the beginning, I'm so smooth here. Was I meant to say that we're going to kind of talk today, and I think I'm actually going to use this on Doing Divorce Different and Saddle Up Live because we're going to talk about how you get through a really hard time, like a really hard time, something difficult. It can be divorce. It can be a diagnosis. It can be your dog dying. It can be like or a spouse dying or whatever it is. And what I just have to say, Tracy, is I wanted you to talk about your calendar because I think because of the work that I did with Tracy before I had my super hard event and my little trauma, um, it helped me through it. And Tracy, I was always someone that didn't want anyone to suffer. Oh, I just want to make it all better for you. I don't want you to feel bad. And my poor children, right? I mean, they need therapy probably and coaching right now because I tried to keep them protected from ever being hurt. And what I'm realizing is that's kind of where the good stuff is.
Mhm.
And so we can't like completely stop the bad, some of the suffering, like, but we can help it along the way as long as we look at it and feel it. Is that making sense to you, Trace?
Yeah, and I have so much to say about this because, like, allowing yourself to feel the quote unquote bad feelings is where the good stuff is, to use your words.
Mhm.
Learn so much from it. And let's just categorize the bad feelings as pain,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah, yeah.
all have pain in our life. And the difference between pain and suffering is pain is what we learn from. Suffering is when we make the pain mean something about our worth. When we really start to like
Ooh.
tell ourselves that I shouldn't be angry, I shouldn't be feeling sad, I shouldn't let anybody else feel angry or sad or disappointed. Like we make it mean something about our worth. And that's where the suffering actually comes in. And that's what I help people avoid is the
Okay. Yep.
unnecessary suffering.
I love that. I love how you just worded that, and it was an aha light bulb moment for me. I still get them. I'm still growing right along with everyone. So I love that because, and here's the thing, when I went through my hard thing, I felt the pain, but I don't think I suffered, Trace. I think because, but it hurt. It
Mhm,
hurt and it was hard for
mhm,
a long time. For a
mhm,
long time, I had to sit. However, I was open to, what am I going to learn from this? Why
mhm,
is, what is the reason that this has come into my life right now?
mhm. Super
And
powerful questions right there. If
yeah.
you are somebody who is open to feeling all of the emotions that come with any sort of circumstance, that's probably one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is what can I learn from this? Because it really like takes that layer of fear off and it puts you into like a curious space. It
Mhm.
puts you into an inquisitive space. And you can't be afraid, like you can't be in this spiral of fear when your brain is focused on the question, what is there to learn from this? Now, I'm not saying it can't quickly shift back because it certainly can. But when you intentionally focus your brain on answering that question, you'll notice how the vibration, the emotion changes. And
Mhm.
then the actions follow suit. Emotions drive our behaviors or drive our actions. So we will inherently change how we're behaving when we change how it is that we're feeling. And we do have that control. Most people have never been taught how to change the way you feel. They think that it's just like planted on us because of a circumstance. We lose a loved one and we immediately feel sad. And that really isn't true. It isn't until we have a thought that we actually feel something. Somebody could have passed and we wouldn't even know about it, right? So that just debunks that whole theory right there. Until we have been told and we have a thought about it, we won't have an emotion.
Right.
Circumstance actually has very little to do with the emotion that we're feeling. It's a trigger for a thought. And so therefore the point is that we can control the way we think. Now, I'm not saying when you're in pain, you should shift your focus so that you don't feel it. I think, like we just discussed, pain has a ton of value. You learn from it. So
Well,
if you can train yourself to allow yourself to just sit in it, lean into it, you'll be surprised at how much you learn. But that's the key is actually allowing yourself to feel it.
exactly. And I think it just was so eye-opening to me to go through something that was so painful and scary. It was really scary to me. And what I need to say is that it hurt. It was painful for a long time.
Yeah.
And so even though I kept, but what kept me, well, I surrendered. I have my God, and I surrendered everything to Him, and that truly was life changing.
Mhm.
But but it wasn't like, I think that I had anticipated with all the coaching that I had done. Well, I got this all figured out. I can change my thought. And you know what? I couldn't do it that fast. And and that was okay. And so I don't want you to think, if your husband just came home and said, "I want a divorce," or if your kiddo's sick or whatever it is, I don't want you to think, "Oh, I should be able to switch my mind. I should be able to change this thought." It's a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah. I
You
would pray
can,
on the thought of all I have to do is allow the pain to be there.
and
That's the thought that I would go with.
sometimes it's there for a really long time. And I mean, I would say 6 months to a year almost, I was kind of, well, 6 months, I was in feeling pretty painful, feeling pretty a lot of pain. Um, and then I think about, like, and it still will creep up on me. I mean, there are moments where I will just get so overwhelmed that I'll just get tears in my eyes, like, what the heck just happened? What did I go through? Like, I went through that? What?
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like, when I think about that too, I think about when you lose, like, I have a good friend who lost her husband. I mean, you can be thankful that you had that beautiful husband, but it's still going to hurt. It's that pain is going to be there.
Mhm.
Right. And you can suffer less, but you can't really get rid. You know what I'm saying, Trace? And
Yeah.
I think that when I was kind of more Susie Sunshine and hadn't been through a lot of hard things, I don't think I understood the depth of that real pain.
Right.
And that's why I think too, like, I can't stop doing divorces, because I know my pain was different. I haven't been through a divorce, but I've been through pain. And I think divorces can be really difficult and really painful.
Mhm.
And that's why I think, if you're in a Susie Sunshine moment, work on yourself. I mean, because it is going to save you when you, like, learn how to feel your feelings,
Mhm.
because it is going to save you when you drop down into the depths of something really hard. It is
Right.
going to, it was there. It was there for me. And it didn't, honey, it did not feel good.
Right.
And I think I was always like, "Oh, I want everyone to think I'm doing well. I'm great." No, it sucked. It
Yeah.
sucked. And
Yeah.
I did do really well because of the choices that I made, partly because of God, and whatever. And by the grace of God, it was caught early, and so I did have things to grab onto, but everybody has hope, and everything you're going through, you do have something to grab onto with gratitude.
Mhm.
And I think that's what kept me alive. And then, just like, I remember I would lay in bed and I would just try to think of the things I'm grateful for. They caught it early. It's cured, it's all these things. And then I would sit there and I would just feel God's love. And
Mhm.
sometimes I would have to go to, like, when I felt love, like when you hold your baby for the first time, just go back there and feel that. And then it kind of connected me closer to how God loves me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to throw this stuff out here because I think the self-coaching meant so much to me, but I think there's more. I mean, there's a lot of work in it. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was a lot of work in. It's not just like, "Oh, just do this, follow these steps." It's not that.
Mm.
Because I also have to start thinking about, when did I think that the first time? Because sometimes, even though a thought is ridiculous and you almost don't believe it because it seems so dumb, it is so ingrained in your head, you
Mhm.
can't get over it until
Right.
you really do the deep work.
Right. Yeah. And so just the neuroscience of it
Yep.
can help normalize the experience. So you're like, "Oh, I know that's not even true. Like,
Mhm.
I know I'm not going to die. I know
Right.
that I'm going to be okay, but yet I can't shake this fear."
Mhm.
And the whole reason why you're even having that thought that seems ridiculous is because there is a neural pathway
Mhm.
that was established when you were probably 2 years old. Like
Mhm.
your little primitive brain was always out there scanning for danger, looking for all of the ways you could potentially die. And so that is very human of you. And when you realize that, just the science of it, that alone can help you normalize it and allow it
Mhm.
to be there.
Mhm. Good
And
point.
and it'll
Yes.
keep you from the suffering that would happen if you start to make it mean something about your worth. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should know
Yes.
better. This is so stupid that I keep thinking that. Like those aren't helpful thoughts,
Mm-mm.
right? And that's what actually causes the suffering is when you make the pain mean something about your worth or your value.
Yes.
And so that is the very distinct difference
Yes.
between pain and suffering that I like to get right off of, right out of the gate. I like to help people level set that first and foremost. Secondly, I would say self coaching is an art that takes a lot of practice. And
Mhm.
that was the purpose behind creating this planner because it takes you through the exercise of self-coaching every single day with a very applicable like dynamic, which happens to be your day. There's a very applicable element to your self-coaching. The circumstance is your day, and that helps people build the muscle of self-coaching. Now when you get into the extraordinary circumstances like a diagnosis or loss, I would recommend reaching out for help,
Mhm.
getting a professional to coach you because when you've layered on maybe like the I don't know, just the inexperience of self-coaching with adversity, it's extraordinarily hard. But
Mhm.
if you go and seek out coaching from somebody who's been trained to prompt you to like see your mind in a different sort of way, things change. So it's a big ask. To your point, self-coaching is not easy. It is something that needs to be practiced, but it's extraordinarily difficult when you've layered on an unusual circumstance.
Yeah, Tracy, that is what has been so eye-opening to me. And I think, I mean, I've been trained by you. I am a coach.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna be very, very honest here. I dropped off the face of the earth for a while and I needed to.
Mhm.
That was what I needed. I did not get coaching. You know that. I just said, I need your prayers. I need your prayers, and I would update you at my little community that I would update. And I don't know if my way was right or wrong, but you got to do you, right? But
Yep.
this is what I'm saying is that I think I needed like a year of rest.
Yeah.
I needed that because I'm quite messed up. If you didn't know that. I'm like, I'm just learning how to be me.
As we all are,
Yes,
right?
yes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that messed up. But I'm just learning how to have fun, how to follow my dreams, how to stop people pleasing. And so I took that time of rest. I did not even think about self-coaching. I did not do a calendar. I survived. And I went back on anxiety medication, and that's okay because I was spinning out. I was spinning out. Now I've like weaned off. Now I've come back to my passions, my dream, and they mean even more.
Mhm.
Everything is just so much better now.
Yeah. I do
Uh,
want to clarify. I don't think self-coaching is the end all be all, or even coaching, like professional coaching is the end all be all solution. There are lots of resources out there, like medications or like
right.
your spiritual faith. Like there are a lot of different avenues that you can go and you could take a hybrid of all of them, So, um,
Well, and I don't wanna downplay the value of it. This is what like, I highly recommend I mean, we all go through hard things. Like we think like not talking to our sister is hard. Well, wait till you're like faced with something like I might die. And then you're going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I don't really care about that. I'm going to focus on this.
Right.
So I just want to, I totally believe in it for everyone, because even though I'm telling you I didn't reach out for coaching during that time, I know that because I had practiced it and it was part of me, that it was in there. But I just, because of my life, I just needed that rest for a little while.
Mhm.
And now I need the coaching back. I
Mhm.
need the deadlines. I need my calendar. And so I finally started doing, I didn't do a calendar the whole time. I mean, I just said that, but and that's okay.
Yeah. I want to just challenge you on your thought around I didn't do any self-coaching during that time.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, how do you define self-coaching and how do I define self-coaching?
Right.
I define self-coaching as literally getting in touch with my thoughts and making decisions about what it is that I'm going to believe. That's what I consider self-coaching. Some other people would say, you're not self-coaching unless you have this book and you make specific decisions about your day, how it is that you want to think and feel, and about where it is that you're going to be doing and what it is you're going to be doing at that moment. Like, there are different definitions. And when I hear you replay what it is that you went through over the course of 6 months to a year, I hear you saying that you did make decisions about how it was that you were going to think and feel. You decided to hand it over to God. That's a decision. That's a belief that created peace, that created comfort.
It's so interesting because when you first responded, I thought, and I'm like, holy crap. It was like self-coaching 10, I mean, through the whole thing on steroids. All I did was self-coach.
Mhm.
So isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't sitting down doing the whole thing was about reevaluating, getting in touch with my feelings, learning what was important to me, and looking at why did this happen? Like, let's just take a this is a nice when you have a stage 1 that they catch and cure, that's a little wake up call. That's a little what's going on in your life that that would bring that on. And I think that's so interesting. And I don't know for sure what it is, but I've got some really strong inklings
Mhm.
on what it is. So
Yeah. 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 I also think that you probably wouldn't have been in the same place had you not had the skill sets on the onset. Like,
never,
you
never.
had invested so much time,
Mhm.
energy, resources into creating that skill that you were ready. It just looked different when under different circumstances or under that
Yes.
veil of a diagnosis, the practice looked different.
Okay. And thank you. I think this is what I want to say. I want everyone to learn how to do self coaching and do the mind math, work with Tracy, do whatever you can, because I think that's what made all the difference. I think it was like, it was bringing me to the point where I would be ready to truly heal. Like
Mhm,
I truly healed so many aspects,
mhm.
not just healing the cancer, but healing
Mental and
me.
emotional. Yeah.
Yes. But I
Right.
never would have been there. Tracy, I was so afraid and such a victim and so judgy, and all the work. We did lots of good work, didn't we?
Mhm, mhm.
Oh man, I mean the training I went through with you, all the things to just make me ready for it. And that's what I think that's maybe what I want people to know.
Yeah.
Like, yes, enjoy your life and don't sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, something horrible's around the corner." Maybe it never is,
Right.
but it'll help you live a better life.
Right. And I personally, I wouldn't look at it as like an insurance policy. Like, I have to do this
Yes.
in case something tragic happens. I wouldn't look at it that way. I would actually look at it as the means to better understanding myself.
Mhm.
Like, look at how you've come out of this. Like, you so much better understand yourself. And that's what self-coaching is truly all about.
Mhm.
Yes, it's the outcome is making decisions ahead of time so that you feel in control. But the path to getting there is through better understanding yourself. So
Mhm.
if you are somebody right now who feels very out of sorts, very out of touch, very confused about your life and who you are, yeah, self-coaching is a great solution. If you're somebody who is saying, I don't know how I would ever handle that kind of diagnosis, self-coaching right now is a great option for you. So it serves you in a lot of ways, but I certainly wouldn't do it as that insurance policy. I
No.
would do it as a means of better understanding yourself, because it really does make your life so much more abundant when you can have these ongoing conversations with yourself and really
Mhm.
kind of be present and think through the different experiences. It does make life more abundant and more
It does.
enjoyable.
I don't know who it would not be for.
Me
I mean,
either.
I feel like
Right.
I mean, really, like everyone that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I really feel, I just really wanna share that with people, how much it helped me, and if you can, sign up with Tracy and or just listen to the podcast on your mindset and just I guess the bottom line is feel your feelings and don't judge them. Have empathy for yourself,
Right.
you
Yeah, the
know?
judging of your own feelings is what creates the suffering,
Yeah,
period. Yeah, and then we'll link the goal planner because it's truly a day planner that is helping you set and achieve goals that are meaningful for you in your life. And we have free workshops that will help you maximize that planner. Anybody could buy it today off of Amazon and figure out how to use it, but why do that when you can watch a workshop and have me hold your hand through
right.
the way to maximize it?
Well, and what I wanna say, Tracy, and I told you this in our last get together, but so I need that because I have big goals. I have big things coming, which is super exciting. Because
Yeah.
I always say Colonel Sanders started at 65. So
Yep.
I'm not that old yet. No, so I'm really excited for those things. But this is the ticket, is that before Easter, I used I used your work, this book, and I thought I was intentional. But what do I wanna get out of this day? And I'm like the people pleaser who was always worried about what people think, and I thought, "You know what? What do I want?" And I thought, "I wanna go to Easter, and I want to I just wanna love everyone and not judge them,
Mhm.
and I wanna be interested in them, and I don't wanna be worried about me and how I appear, and I wanna go and sit down and connect." And I I actually rehearsed it. I think Joe Dispenza or whatever said something about this, like rehearsed it in my head,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was magic. And do you know how much that meant to me? Because those are things I never even thought about. This isn't just about professional. It is, but it's also about, do you know what a great Easter I had? And do you know the ripple effect that
Yeah.
me connecting with other people had on other people?
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
what it's all about.
Yeah, it has unlimited applications. This applies to your professional life, to the relationships in your life, to your health and wellness, to your
Mhm.
finances. I mean, it's
Yes.
truly unlimited when and it's so simple. It
Mhm.
is so simple. It may not be easy, but the
Right.
simplicity of it is seriously picking
True.
3 events from any given day, and we take you day by day by day, and I ask you to pick 3 events that you're gonna make a decision ahead of time, and I wanna underscore that, a decision ahead of time, not about where you're gonna be and what it is that you're gonna be doing. I don't care about that. Any goal planner will have you write that into the blank line. I'm asking you to make a decision about how it is that you want to feel while you are executing on that event. You guys, it is a game changer because it will require you to decide what it is that you would have to be believing. And now the effort is focused on how do I remember that? Right? Because once you decide it, so if you've decided that 3 hours before the Easter event, and now you find yourself at the Easter event, it's super important that you squeeze the value out of the work that you did 3 hours ago and you remember, how was it that I wanted to think and feel? So that becomes the quote unquote hard part. And we have all sorts of little hacks for that. But as you get better at doing this exercise, it becomes easier because you've become grounded in your own decisions. And so at any moment, when you start to feel like the uneasiness or the confusion, that becomes the indicator to remember the work that you did earlier.
Amen, sister. And that is what it was. Like I was present. So I went to Easter and I walked in. And then if I was going back to the old Lesa where I was like, I don't know if she likes the way I'm dressed or, whatever your stupid thought you're I don't know. That's where I go. I went, oh, no, that's not what I want to be focused on today.
There you go.
And it was like, and you're right, because it's not hard for me to remember anymore because I am on the alert to recognize those feelings that I don't want.
Right. Yeah. And it just takes practice, and you're not going to buy the book and all of a sudden be perfect at it. You're going to buy the book and you're going to fumble your way through the first few weeks. And it's going to feel awkward because nobody ever taught you how to decide ahead of time how it is that you want to think and feel, but you're going to get better at it. And you're going to get so good at it that you'll find yourself in the moment of any circumstance feeling an unwanted feeling and remembering, I don't have to feel this way. It's completely within my control. And that right there is the definition of a self-made person. Is when you remember, I don't have to feel this way. I certainly can. And I'm sure that there would be value, a gift and an opportunity from any of these circumstances. But you decide.
Right.
You get to decide.
Amen. Amen. And it's so important. I never, ever invested in myself until I started working with you like 2 years ago. People, it's not that big of an investment to just start with the planner. Now I really invest in myself. Now it is really important to me and I still have a long way to go. But you are the most important thing. And God wants to use you to do his work. So if you're not loving yourself and feeding yourself, you can't do all the good work you're here to do. So,
right. Yeah. That's why we called the planner Becoming Self-Made, because it's a never-ending journey.
Right.
You're always on the path of becoming, right? You're always learning something about yourself. There is never going to be that finish line of perfection. It's always, you're always in the state, and we want people to embrace and celebrate the state of becoming.
I love it. I love it because I'm still becoming, but it still keeps just getting more beautiful. So Tracy, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to have you back on. We'll talk about more stuff.
All
but
right.
Find her in the show notes, listeners, or go to Self-Made You. Thanks, Tracy. You take good care. I'll see you next week.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.